This is Drop Tent Media Network.
Pretty face like that, I can't be mad at you. An independent woman with an attitude. I can give you what you want, but you don't really need it, cause you never want for nothing. So it wouldn't be wrong to ask you to my place. If you tell me that you can't, then baby, it's okay.
Today on Crimes to Remember. Now, I touch on different stories, but the thing is, the reason why I wanted to touch on this story is the fact that a lot of people are going to probably be unaware of it because it just unfolded. A month ago, it was discovered in Mississippi 215 bodies that were buried behind the county jail in Jackson, Mississippi. So the sad part is, while they're discovering all these bodies, what really brought certain things to light, not only did they discover it, but the one factor that was the main factor in discovering it was Dexter Wade, an African American man, was one of the gentlemen that they did find. Now, the sad part about that is Dexter Wade was actually crossing the highway one evening and a police officer hit him with his car and he was killed. So now, of course, you figure, okay, they're going to do an investigation, they're going to notify the family, so on and so forth. Now, that's not what happened, unfortunately. Not only was the family not notified and Dexter was killed, then he was later placed in a body bag and buried in a shallow grave within this area where 250 bodies was discovered. So the crazy part about it was that no matter what, when the police officer hit him, he definitely should have been notified no matter what. And the family, of course, the police department was saying, well, we tried to notify them, but we didn't have the phone number and we weren't able to get to him. Now, when his body was discovered out in this area behind the county jail, his ID was in his pocket. So, okay, so I hear that you're saying that you couldn't find him. But the sad part about that was not only was Dexter Wade's ID on them, the police was familiar with his family regardless. Because prior to Dexter Wade being hit by the police officer, Dexter's uncle was actually murdered by the police. And they were in the middle of a lawsuit against the police department due to, deadly force and a murder that occurred on his uncle. So the police department was already familiar with the family. No matter how they like to spin it or put it, they were in the midst of a lawsuit. I feel like they looked at it, well, oh my goodness, we've murdered the uncle and we're about to be subjected to a lawsuit. So maybe we could just cover up Dexter Wade and we'd be just fine. Come on now, it's ridiculous. So now with the 250 bodies that were discovered behind the county jail, the bad part was no family was ever notified of anybody, any murder or any person that was placed back there. All the bodies, there's no, of course they didn't use any embalming fluid or anything like that. So they were actually placed in body bags and then in shallow graves. So out in the area behind the county jail, that's why it's so many buzzards that are flying around because of the, human decomposing bodies that they can smell. And they can smell a body from miles away. So, but they never decided to give any type of explanation or anything whatsoever. And it just blows my mind. Now, it was back in March when Dexter Wade was actually hit by the police officer. And of course, his family thought that he was murdered. But unfortunately, they just weren't notified. And in Dexter Wade's grave, there were actually 6 other people that were in the same grave as his that was buried with him.
Wow.
All the sites actually were labeled with metal rods and numbers written on them. And that was just how they decided to dispose of them. And it's unfortunate because these families, not only did they deserve closure, but my thing is, it had to be more than one person, but how did everyone know about this burial ground? Like, that's the part that amazes me. for you to be able to say now, okay, well, it's 215 bodies. Like it's just, it doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't.
Yeah, and there's usually kind of protocol anytime someone's killed, like, accounting for the bodies, but
Right.
seems like they got to work around because of a prison graveyard, I guess, that no one really knew about or cared about.
Right. And like, that's the thing that blows my mind. So, of course, now they're trying to do a federal investigation to be able to get down to the situation and figure out everything that's going on. Now, of course, the police stated that they made attempts to contact the family, that the phone number wasn't correct, and that's why they weren't able to get through. But my thing is, the mother, Dexter Wade's mother, went to the police station and reported him missing. And they stated to her that they had no idea where he was, but they would definitely, you know, put out an alert to see if anyone would have any sighting of him, and they would contact her and let her know. No one ever followed up her whatsoever.
Mm.
And the fact that his mother was already dealing with a lawsuit because of excessive force, they murdered her brother.
Yeah, in 2019, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was slammed to the ground and died. And yeah, they tried to convict on manslaughter,
Right.
but it was appealed.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
It is. I think the thing is, so it's not a lot of information that we have on it so far, but the sad part is because it's still unfolding, because they discovered this a month ago. The other factor is, people have been curious. Are they're all African Americans, or is that no? It's African Americans and Caucasians. It's a mixture of people. So far, 3 people have been identified at the grave sites: Dexter Wade, Mario Moore, who was 40 years old, and Jonathan Hankins, who was 39. So those bodies have been discovered, and the families have been notified. So now, of course, they're trying to figure out what happened to them. Why was this, not only why were they murdered, but why were their bodies all dumped here? And why was no one aware of this? Because it's the way that these people were handled, it was just inhumane. It just made no sense to me. It just made no sense at all. And the sad part is, ever since 2016 now, they're able to identify 215 bodies, but the families have still not been notified yet. Now, the other crazy thing is, at Dexter Wade's location where his body was buried, Dexter Wade was actually numbered. His spot was numbered 672, which means there are still 671 bodies there actually, but only 215 have been identified.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Understood. That's this is crazy. Yeah, and then you can even they even have like a breakdown of like where Wade was struck and killed, and then there's just no way to get around this, is there? I mean, that's just clear.
Yeah.
I mean, that's murder and you're covering up a death. Like it's you
Right.
don't.
And
Yeah,
even though, and I think the part that is so upsetting is, even though they're sitting there and they're saying it's an accident, but everyone feels the same way. If it was an accident, then you would have went through a certain protocol. You would have notified the family. You wouldn't have tried to hide it. Then she reported him missing, and you guys just stated, well, we'll look for him, but we're unsure of what happened. And then the sad part, Mayor Lumumba of Mississippi, he stated and spoke out that, that Dexter was simply crossing the highway and was struck by the patrol car, but it was an accident. And the fact that they weren't notified, he stated that notification was attempted. They called, they were never able to reach her. So that's your only answer. Like, no one could have went to their door. The mother went to the police station. She gave her phone number. She gave her address. Her phone number is still the same as what it is on the police records now. She would call in. She would ask questions. Then One time she called in. There was supposed to be a civil alert on him, like for citizens to alert if they do spot him. When she called in 2 different times, they stated that they knew no such thing as an alert. They never. It wasn't on the.
This is perfect too because we can hear Law and Order in the background. Which
I
is
know. Listen,
perfect music.
Yeah, listen. You gotta love it. Like
It's on
that's
repeat.
when right. You gotta love it when it's one of those days and you're like, oh my goodness, did we not just have a discussion that it was podcast time? No, doesn't mean anything, does it?
It's all good. No, you're true. You're somebody who's into true crime, and it shows. It's on in the background at all times.
Yeah,
I get
gotta
you.
love the kids. Gotta love them.
Yeah, this isn't even. What's crazy about this is, I guess we're setting this up, almost, not in a wrong way, but this isn't a prison graveyard. This is a graveyard that they found behind a prison.
Right.
That's not sanctioned. Like it doesn't. That's why it's like what they found, and you're like, yeah, these were not supposed to be here. They don't have the rules to.
Right.
These are bodies are buried
bodies
shallow.
Were buried like, and then the thing that makes you wonder is they were buried in body bags. So then, to me, now this is another thing. I don't know if people even cross their mind. So where did you get the body bags from? Because then you're making me think, was the majority of these bodies that were buried due to law enforcement in order for the bodies to have a body bag? No embalming done, no nothing. That's why so many buzzards were attracted to it. And then it started to become a dead giveaway. Like something's not right. And the odor and the stench, horrible.
I mean, I think you mentioned, they were buried in multiple bodies were found in
right. In his spot, it was six bodies within his grave. Yeah.
The numbering is even more confusing in a way. Are these bodies trying to be hidden? It doesn't. This is straight out of like True Detective in a way. Like it's why number them? Why find them numbered? It's
right. The thing is, it's almost like you couldn't have been trying to conceal it, but so much when you numbered the spots. Okay, they were able to identify 215, but he was numbered 672. So you mean to tell me we got to get all the way up to identifying 671 more? That's
and the ID being found. I mean, well, there's so many problems with it. It's just more of like you'd think those are like, well, it's behind a prison. Are those their numbers? Like, no, these aren't even prisoners. You're like, why is this here?
So, and then you wonder, like, were any of them of the victims prisoners or not? You don't know. But the thing is, I think the thing that it comes back to, and especially with it being Mississippi, I mean, let's be realistic. Yeah. Mississippi's track record, I mean,
not great.
It's not good, right? It's not good regardless, but
Mississippi burning. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, basically, right. That's really what it comes down to. I think the thing that is really suspect to me is the fact that not only are the bodies in a shallow grave, but 6 bodies within that grave make me wonder, did the police take out all those people? If it's in the same grave and then it's with a body bag? If they're buried with body bags, this is my thing. If you go and you decide you're going to murder someone, do you have a body bag in your garage? I'm just curious.
I mean, I can't answer that question directly, but it's no, there's clearly a giant cover. This isn't just suspicious. This is wildly suspicious. This is overwhelmingly suspicious. It's almost as if they did it, like, I don't know who they are in this instance, but if the cops are casual enough to be like, well, I hit a guy with my car and we tried to contact people. Even I think at one point they say that this happens all the time. Unfortunately, the incident report was labeled incorrectly, and they, instead of it saying Dexter, it said Dexter, like with an S instead of an X. Right.
Like they looked at it like, okay, well, it was a mistake. The officer wasn't at fault in any way. And I'm like, are you joking? That's really our answer.
Even if you're not at fault, right? Anyway? It doesn't.
That sounds suspicious.
Even if it was purely an accident, it's still such a miscarriage of justice, and obviously any thought towards their family at all, which you can't cover up. We can tell that they would have known and been easy to. This also is not like a large city, so it's kind of crazy for the police to. We don't know who it was. It's like they lived. I think you can even see on the map. He doesn't live too far from where he was struck.
Right.
And then where he's buried is not too far from there. It's pretty ridiculous. here. You guys can see it if you jump onto the YouTube. Um, it's he Wade doesn't live. If you're on the YouTube, it's up in the top left.
Right.
He doesn't live too far. He was struck over here, the bottom right, crossing a highway. And then I presume, yeah, up at the top here on the right. This is just, they definitely knew.
Right.
You know what I mean? They definitely
Right.
knew the
At the end of the
family.
day, there's no excuse for you to state like, "Oh, well, we were uncertain or we didn't." Come on now, let's be realistic. Like,
Yeah.
it's a
What's the,
complete cover up, and the fact that the mayor looks at it like, it was just simply miscommunication and an accident. Are you serious? This is the stance you want to take with that?
yeah.
Yeah, I think unfortunately, Mayor Lumumba is he's definitely, to me. I understand you want to be politically correct and not place blame anywhere, but I sincerely think he's in denial.
It's,
It's
yeah.
Jackson, Mississippi. Let's be realistic.
No, I mean,
We know Mississippi's track record.
yeah,
Come
to
on,
say that black and brown and poor people in general in Mississippi, this is kind of the treatment.
right?
This kind of goes to it. It's just kind of
Yeah,
solidifies it even more. And
right.
what is it, like 1960, like in there? This is
Right.
insane. This,
It blows your mind, and the thing is, like, now, another thing too is Ben Crump has always been an advocate when African Americans have, been wrongfully murdered or, have just dealt with injustice. And Ben Crump is actually representing Dexter Wade's mom at the time, currently and whatnot. So, just to get some answers. Because the sad part is there was never an autopsy done. So that's what I'm trying to understand. Like, you're like, okay, got hit by a car, it was an accident, and so on and so forth. But even when people pass away that weren't murdered, they still usually do an autopsy. You're just checking, like before they go to the funeral home. I mean, that's just normal, unless it's old age and the family says, "Oh, not necessary," due to health reasons and so on and so forth. But he was hit by a police car, but no autopsy was ever done. Come on now, complete cover up.
yeah, it's they're even talking about following it. I assume the mom kind of taking to Facebook and trying to find her son and posting about trying to find him if he is out there.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
in the same time, in July, no one's claimed Dexter's body at this point. He's been struck. He's deceased,
right.
and they apparently have been holding his body, waiting for it to be claimed.
Yeah.
But how hard did they check? This doesn't. It just
Right.
doesn't line
It
up.
add up. It no matter. This is my thing. No matter how you phrase it or how you word it, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
however they did it, it just doesn't make any sense. It's a cover up. And that was
This
the main
is
reason why I wanted to do the story, because I wanted to bring attention to it. Because even though it's, they've mentioned in the media, a lot of people still haven't, they have not mentioned it enough for it to get out there. And I feel like it's a cover up. They just want to bury, like they did with all these bodies without any dignity. And it was truly inhumane for these bodies to be buried and left there and these people be murdered and just as if they're trash and no one cares and no family members are notified yet. Like it's just
yeah,
heartbreaking. It's
yeah.
heartbreaking to think that humans could treat another human like that.
Yeah, and for anybody in Mississippi, talk to somebody. I don't know where you guys are going to pull money out, but all of these bodies should be thoroughly investigated to be sure.
Right.
And this is what happens when it just goes. This is what happens when bad police work, bad things are when social economic inequality is so present, where it's like you're going to spend millions of dollars if we're treating people like numbers now. Well, now we're all outraged because you treated people like numbers. And now we're going to spend a bunch of state money because we want these bodies to go home. We want them to find, the people that are their family. And we're going to I'm hoping that that's the big push of identifying everyone and making sure their families are notified. This is insane. And it should be on the cops and I hope that
Right. Because at the end of the day,
is
like
prosecuted.
realistically, all these people deserve a proper funeral and their families deserve to have closure. Like it's families that believe their loved ones are missing or just didn't come home or whatever the case is. And then unfortunately, God knows how long they were buried there in those shallow graves in Mississippi. It's unfair to the families. And the victims were just, it's just inhumane.
Yeah, Dexter. Yeah, we feel for you. That's it's. I mean, this is still developing, as we said. So we'll have to jump into irk my soul. I think this irks my soul. But in all earnest, this is just. I didn't catch this. So good catch. I didn't even see this. Coming out, but yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, there's updates. That's the. I mean, just to make sure people are prosecuted and the slack is picked up. I don't know. It's Mississippi, so
Right. I mean, like, what expect, I mean, you can have high expectations, but I mean, are they realistic? I mean, I'm still going to follow the story because I would like to, I don't know, get some type of better closure because this isn't really closure. Just because we found Dexter Wade and we identified two other people. Now, they do have the identity of 215 bodies. They haven't released them, and the families haven't been notified yet, but they will. But Dexter was labeled what is it, 672. So you're still going to have to figure out the 671. That doesn't make sense to me.
and I mean it's another point, yeah, how we treat mental illness because he was diagnosed bipolar, possible schizophrenia. He was prescribed medication and on it. And he might have, and it does say that the toxicology report he had PCP, methamphetamine in his system. So, but again, it's got nothing to do with the cover. It's like, how are we treating people? Are we treating people like numbers? Is this how you would want to be treated? No, right? He was still struck accidentally, or whatever happened that day, and yeah, and the mother is searching hourly. They have interviews. They have everything that says that they should be able to link this body to the mother. They have fingerprints that are matching those on file for him. Like who this is at this point,
Right, basically.
and just
It's
need
not
to.
a mystery. Like, we figured it out. So it's not like it's a mystery.
It's not a mystery. They just didn't identify her directly, nor reach out to her, or could find her, quote unquote, which is interesting in this
When
day
she
and
went to
age.
the police department with her information.
I just
And not
don't
only
know.
that, they were familiar with the family. Dexter Wade's uncle was murdered by them, and they're in the midst of the lawsuit. So let's not act like you don't know who the family is.
Yeah, I think I mean, it's sometimes they're like, well, then why would they hide it? Like, this is why, if they're already in a lawsuit, then this happens. That's motive enough. I feel like, I don't know what you can prove in a court of law, but I mean, that's a fair indicator of some type of motive, of it happening by accident, and then just being like, oh well, we want to cover this up because it's going to make it look even worse for us in the actual court case that's going on, which is some high end villain stuff. That is some.
Yeah,
That is some.
my thing
wow.
is, I don't know how they feel they're going to talk their way out of it, but I know they're going to try and figure something out.
I mean,
That's
it'll
all they
come-
do. They always try to do cover ups, and it's just sad.
even with his brother when he was murdered, it was talking about some of the reporting just from like NBC News was, it was yes, the officer was brought to court but then appealed, then argued down, then you get in front of a sympathetic judge, then before you know it, it's barely a slap on the wrist,
Right.
and he killed a person.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
wow. I mean, yeah, we'll follow up with this one, and see where it goes. Good catch. Yeah, because I
Yeah,
missed
but
it.
I thought it was an interesting story for the simple fact of people need to know something like this is, come on now, this rocks a town. Like, I don't understand. Like, it should be a bigger deal. More people should know. Like, even though it was mentioned, like, it was not mentioned enough. I know I've mentioned it to friends and they didn't know. They were unaware of it. And everyone needs to be made aware of it because this is something that should not only not be acceptable, but we should never be able to. This should never occur again, ever.
Make a move on you, pretty as a rose.
What's been irking your soul? What's been getting at you? What's the cat climbing up your tree and just clawing?
Yeah. The sad part is, how you be like, well, maybe it could be one thing. Yeah, okay. Everything's irking my soul. You're like everything. It's an abundance of things. I think the funny part is like when one thing might go wrong and then like 3 or 4 things are piled on with it. And then you get to the point where you're like, not so well, yeah, at times you can be overwhelmed, but it's not so much overwhelmed to the point where you just are done with people. You get to the point where you're just like, okay, I can only take but so much. You're like, And my thing is, when you have certain people that ride for you, you have certain people that are against you. You get to a point where you just, people that don't like you or don't respect you, you leave them where they stand and you go on about your business. Now, some people won't be happy with that, but I think that's fair. Like, I mean, I don't. My thing is this: when people don't like you, respect you, what do you want to do? You want to have a conversation about it? You must have lost your fucking mind. I don't have conversations like that. My time is money. That sounds really stupid to me. That's dumb. To have a conversation to figure out why. To hope you can like me. Bitch, do I look like I'm 5? I don't need someone to like me.
No, that's interesting. That's
Yeah,
interesting because you perform stand up.
right, basically. And not only that, the best is when people come at your neck, you're like, well, pretty sure I can find a joke on you somewhere out there. Like, it's just, it just amazes me. Like, people do things or people will treat you bad or not respect you or just you think they're your friend and you realize, oh, they never had your back. They never were your friend. And then when you realize it, they look at you like, you are acting different. Didn't you just call me a bitch? Okay. Yeah, last time I checked, I'm not really acting different. I don't think that's the name of my birth certificate, but I'll double check for you if it makes you feel better.
I'm just responding to stimuli. Yeah, you
Basically,
called me a
you put on
bitch.
my leg and you tell me it's raining. Bitch, if I don't see it's raining, then I'm not that dumb. How about that?
Yeah, I got you. I'm out there on Hinge now. That's irking my soul. It's a fun.
You're out on what now?
Oh, I'm on a dating app. Sorry, Sherry.
Oh.
Sherry's sorry, listeners at home. Sherry's so good looking. She doesn't need to use these
Let me tell you
ridiculous
something. Nope, let me tell you something.
principles, these different stupid apps out there.
Let me be the first one to tell you. I'm not that good looking at all. And I'm not that relevant. I just didn't get the email yet. No.
Gotcha.
No, listen, at the end of the day, having a relationship and keeping one and being happy, child, that stuff takes a lot of work. Because you can have a relationship for a long time, but it doesn't mean that person might have your back or not. So, sometimes you might have to wake up and smell the coffee, and other times you have to work at things to make things better. But my thing is, it's things like that take a lot of work. So, and not to mention, like, there's not really much out here. So, if you're in a relationship and that thing fails and you have to start over, shit, you might as well chalk that up as a lost cause and be single. So, have you been on some dates?
Been on some dates, got some probably coming up. It's the what irks my soul specifically, I guess, with Hinge and for Sherry, because of you not needing these apps. I'll explain to you a little bit. Some beautiful people.
That's funny because I was about to be like, what the fuck is Hinge? But go ahead and start.
I figured. Beautiful people don't need to know these things. So no, but Hinge is the one where women have to initiate. So, you set up a profile. What I would say is the profiles aren't very in depth. They don't need to be like most, right? But there's a certain amount of stuff you have to see. But what irks me is, I'll have a woman just contact me and just say something simple like hi. And then just expect men to somehow get attention from a very simple profile in a way that is both not creepy, but at the same time original, and not too presumptuous,
right?
But at the same time interested. And it's there just doesn't seem to be. And also, I got to say, a lot of these folks they cannot keep a convo. Like, I don't even know how convos go or should go online or specifically in these instances. But it feels, what it feels like? It feels like you're kind of popping into existence for a woman for like 2 seconds and you somehow need to stand out, but at the same time not be creepy or weird, which is insane. Like, it's just a revolving amount of dudes. Hey, what's going on? Like, you can't, there's no, you're just, hey, what's up? My name's Neil. It's good. Okay, see you. Bye. Like, it doesn't, you're not getting any impression of them really.
Right.
So I mean, well, I just been cutting to the chase. I just been like, which I'm sure dudes do. I don't know other dudes' strategies. I don't understand strategy
I'm just like curious of the internet dating thing because I'm not one. I don't like new people. I don't like new things. I like a new handbag. I don't like that meeting someone out and getting a phone number. I think that's I mean, it's okay. You can do it, but I mean, realistically, I think it's dumb. I always thought it was like a spectator sport, Meaning you meet someone, you get the phone number, you just have like 2 or 3 different conversations, and you just cut them off because you know doggone well I'm not going to get to know you, and not only that, I don't know you that well, and then 9 times out of 10, probably 30 minutes in, or if you're lucky, 3 days in, I'll be like, you irk my soul. Like, I'm good. I don't want to be bothered. Like, so
Yeah.
I've always been a type where I'm like, okay, well, I've liked someone because of we worked together, or because when I was in college, or a
Right.
job, or because I already knew you on some basis, or I was familiar with you. But to just meet someone, get a phone number, and start talking, nope. I just, it's crazy. And the thing is, I wish I wasn't like that. I would rather be able to just meet someone, like them, and we go out. Nope, that's not, never. Because even
Wow.
intimacy wise, I can't jump into something. It's a mental fact. It's a mental thing.
Of
I've had,
course.
I've had to have known you. I have to want you or desire you. My head has to be in it.
Sure.
Otherwise, it's just, I'm not there. Like, and a man can tell you, be like, are you all right? You're like,
Yeah.
yeah. You're like, listen, you're excited about wanting to do something. I'm just hoping you can hurry up so I can get in the crib if that's the case. Cause I'm tired. You're irking me. Like, so
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not really impressed by, dumb shit. But yeah, no, I've always been curious of when people meet a person and then decide to meet. I mean, they meet online and they meet in person. And I'm just like, I don't know. It's wild to me. Cause a person can tell you whatever they want online. I mean, I can
Yeah.
present myself any way I want. Like, if we have a video chat, okay, you saw me face wise, but I mean, you don't know anything about me. Like, so I
Sure.
think that's interesting that people are able to do it. But I've always been curious. But I would never set up a profile, because I'd only, if I set one up, I would be doing it to be smart, like just to be like, this should be entertaining. Let me see how many people I can bother. But like, it wouldn't hold any weight with me, because that's
Right.
not realistic. That's not something I would want. Because my thing is this: at the end of the day, when it comes to a relationship, and if you love a person and you guys are in it and you're working towards something, fine. If you're not working towards something, you break up. That's understandable. But my thing is this: if you are in a relationship and you've been in a relationship for a long period of time, when that ends, you just got to chalk that up that you're about to die alone. That's my opinion. Now, everyone, listen. Everybody doesn't have to agree with that. But I mean, at a certain age, you be like, start over.
You are no. I'm cutting this off. You're out of your mind. One.
Ain't
This
nobody
is a
starting
this is a
over.
woman in her 30s who is jaded. You're jaded. There's nothing
I'm
wrong
not
with that.
jaded.
Mad jaded. You're crazy jaded. Your first
How
thing
am I
was like your
jaded?
first thing out of your mouth was like, I don't even like meeting new people, which is like counterintuitive to dating in general. So it's like, yeah, no,
I know,
you've
that's horrible.
decided to go alone. And also, you're not alone, because you shouldn't start a dating app profile
I
right
know.
now
All
because
right,
you
listen,
got a
I understand
man.
that. Okay, I understand that. Listen. I'm well aware of that. Right. Well, let me just let you know, motherfucker. We're in bedrock. It's rocky roads around this bitch. All right. So let's keep it 100.
Sure.
But at least I'm honest. At least I'm honest. But no, I'm not dumb. I'm not gonna sit there and be like, yeah, I'm out here dating and da da da. And then somebody be like, oh, that bitch came up missing. But yeah, no, like, I mean, I'm not dumb. But yeah, listen, things take work. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Like, I was never coming up. I was never one for relationships ever. I used to be like, we can kick it forever. We be kicking it for a year or two. That's good enough. But you get older and you be like, ugh. And you have a child. And then it's a different ball game. That's really what
Right.
it comes down. I don't care what anybody says. It
Obviously.
really, like, let's be honest. Call a spade a spade. Because if I didn't have my son, shit, I probably still run the streets like I'm 22. I'm not gonna lie to you, but because I killed it when we ran the streets. My friends and me, we ran the streets enough for everybody, for all of you and your cousins. Like, we did. We had a ball. I graduated high school and then went straight to college. Graduated that, had different jobs, then ended up being a flight attendant. And then being a flight attendant and being able to travel and just fly and go to all these different clubs and meet people, it was a ball. Like, trust me, I definitely enjoyed it. I thank God for the life that I have. I can't mince words on that. Like, I'm definitely blessed. And let my mom tell it. My mom be like, yeah, you did more than enough. But yeah, but I think, though, like you said, as you get older and then you have a child, that definitely makes a big difference. It
Of
makes a big
course.
difference because you talk trash and be like, I'd love to do this, I love it, and doggone well, you're like, I've been there, done it. You're like, no, I'm not. I'm good. I don't need to. But
Yeah.
you sometimes like, oh, we should do this or we should do it, or you be like, let me try something new. You be like, the newest thing you're gonna try is when you go to McDonald's and be like, I was gonna get the number one, now I'm gonna get the number 4. You're like, bitch, okay.
I don't know. Here's what I think online dating breeds. I think it's what it does
Mhm.
is it turns it makes it very easy for people to think that they know you and encapsulate you. Hence why I think I'm getting messages in, but I'm typically just like a couple of messages back and forth, not a lot. And then I'm just like, do you want to meet out somewhere, like at a public place? You know what I mean? I don't say public, obviously, but yes, I'm assuming like let's go to a restaurant, because I'm just not. It's not going to happen here on this app. Like it's just not. You're not forthcoming because you're a woman and being protective, which I understand. And if I say some audacious shit or something that's just trying to get attention or being silly, that is such, it's the choice to do that is like it's a larger choice because it's on an app. If I was talking with you, you would get my sarcasm, you would understand I'm just fucking around or like trying to be, there's none of that. So it just makes it easy for you, like, oh, I get this guy's weird, whatever, or this guy overstepped, or so, these aren't, and it makes it sound like I'm taking big swings. Like I'm like, oh, you want to, you, me, bed sheets, or something. No, I'm just like, we should go out and get food. We should go out and get a drink. And a lot of times it's just like done. Because it's like, too early. We should have talked on the app more. I'm like, what are we going to get done on this app? What am I going to ask you that I think you're really going to answer? Like in an honest way.
I don't think you can get, to me, I find it very hard for you to find out or figure out a person's real genuineness just on an app. It doesn't make sense. Because when you're having a conversation with someone, you can look at the person and see whether or not they're listening or paying attention to you versus being on an app.
Right.
Like a person can placate you. They can say what you want to hear. And don't get me wrong, a person can do that in person. But what I'm saying is it's easier for you to detect where there's bullshit and where there's not.
Sure. Or if there's just chemistry. Yeah, bullshit or like chemistry.
Because my thing is this. You can see someone, because I know for a fact, it's been guys I'll be like, oh, I'll be like, he is good looking. He could change my life. Right. Yeah, he isn't shit. The thing is, he is good looking, but you don't know him. Okay, so just to say someone's good looking doesn't really hold any weight, especially for women. We can find a man very attractive, but it doesn't mean we want to sleep with him at all. We're like, oh, you're so good looking. Because I had one friend, he was very good looking, and we dealt with each other for years when I was younger. And, what is it like? Well, we knew each other for years. We did a relationship for like maybe a year or so. And he was, listen, phenomenal. Italian and black guy. He was Italian and black mix. Gorgeous. It's
a good mix.
I think our friendship was just so good that it's just chemistry wise and it's like we were like roommates or old couple. Like we just weren't, it just wasn't there. But we thought we each of us were good looking, but we just, it wasn't really a spark. So
I get you on that one. Yeah. But yeah, the online dating, well, we've worked. There's many things that irk my soul about it. It does, again, feel like Hinge is kind of, you can record your voice and stuff like that and answer prompts, and there's like little things you can set up. And those are meant, a lot of them just don't feel, they ring false is what I mean. I'm like, these are just things and games that we've set up. We've gamified the dating app so that you feel like you get to know me. But there's not a lot of these, the profiles are not that in depth. You don't really know each other. That's why I keep just going like, maybe a drink, like maybe this, like just, we could, somewhere in public, like, easily, we'll get it in 5 seconds. I've been on one where it was like that, where it was just like, yeah, we were nice, we were cordial, went for food. And then we were like, yeah, I don't think this is it. Yeah, we were just both like, chemistry's not there. There you go. And then we went on our separate ways. That's nothing. It's a little bit of time, but that's it. It's interesting. But it's irking my soul with these dumb, just hi. She just messages a picture. Hi. What am I supposed to say to this? If you walked up to me and say, I would go through the regular rigmarole of like, hi, how are you? What do you do? Like, what do you, but it on the app, that's the thing on the app. It's just like, I feel like women and men, we both get in our heads. And this is what I mean when it irks me. I think it's an easy example of like just getting in your head. And it's an easy way for women to, for anyone, but I can see women just being like, he just asked me what I'm doing. Like, what do I do? That's it. That's your first question. You're like, well, what am I supposed to say? Like, what, if I ask you a simple question, it's like, you're simple. And then if I ask you a ridiculous question or something that's pointed or like, has some flair to it or something like that, then it's like, it's a little too much. I'm like, we're not getting to know each other. Which we've said. So right, anyway.
And that's understandable. But I think also too, though, men and women have a different expectation. So when you're coming at a woman and you're wanting to get to know her, I think they look at it like on the app. You should be more eager to be like, so what do you like to do? When do you have free time? You're like, stop. So they're looking at it like you should come at them from one angle. And you're looking at it like, you're lucky I'm even on online dating. Like, who the hell wants to do that? like, because my thing is, I don't knock it. I just don't believe in it. But I understand that people are busy and we are in a different time right now, especially like when the pandemic and everything. But I don't know. I just, for me to like do a profile and like, I just would feel like
Oh, for you, you're a beautiful woman. Just shut
I
up.
would,
You don't need to. You don't need to do this. This is you being
let me
on
just say
online
this.
dating is ridiculous.
Let me just tell you something. You realize at some point I would probably have to do online dating. I wouldn't be able to take my raggedy ass outside. I'd probably be like, whoops, start over. Let me figure something out. What they got? What is it? I know the sites. They got a match. What do they got?
Match.com,
They got those,
Match.com,
and then it's
Hinge,
what else they got?
Tinder,
Oh, that's right. That is
Plenty
something.
of Fish, which is don't do that.
Oh, they got their Harmony. I said,
eHarmony. Yeah.
oh, it's okay. That's what you know. What I mean. But
eHarmony. Yeah.
yeah, like I don't. But yeah, to me, I just think it's difficult because I've had friends that have done it, and I've heard some nightmares. So I'm not saying that you can't meet someone, but I mean, listen, that's no different in real life. You can meet someone in real life and get married, and you can meet someone in real life and they're fucking horrendous, and you be like, I made a mistake. So I don't think it's any different online. To me, though, the difference is the expectation of the person that you're talking to. That's where the difference lies. Because you can meet a woman that would like to have a relationship and get to know you. And then you can meet another woman where she's like, well, she wants to move faster, or she wants to live together, or she wants to move it faster along. And then like that's another thing with me. That's why I make the point and you say, well, it's crazy. This is my thing. With me, everything takes a long time. So if my relationship is to fall by the wayside that I've had, right? I've invested a lot of time. Like seriously, to be honest with you, would I invest time like this again in another? Of course not. I would never do that. I would never invest time again. Not only would I not invest time again, I probably would deal with somebody, but I mean, it would be an understanding of that I'm going to do me, but it doesn't mean that I won't respect you when I'm in your presence. Because my thing is this: I was never a relationship person, and don't get me wrong, you can love the person you're with, hands down. But when you are with someone so long and you start to think to yourself, I don't think you appreciate how much I love you or how much I sacrifice when this shit is not in my DNA. You do. You get to a point where you're like, you can love somebody, but I'm always going to love myself. So no, I'm realistic. Yes, I do have a situation now.
This
But
feels like we should just put this out. Like, do you just tag your boyfriend in this, like, and just be like, "Here, you're on notice. Just let you know where I'm at."
well,
Like, this is good.
there's nothing. Let's be honest. There's nothing to tag. Let's be honest.
Nice.
Right. There's nothing to tag. And it's not that I'm saying I don't bother with it. It's nothing to tag. I'm just saying realistically, I'm at a point where sometimes you start to realize certain things and you have to make a decision. If you love someone, that's fine. But if you start to feel like a person might take you for granted and they genuinely don't have your back, you cut them the fuck off and be realistic. So, but if I did, trust me when I tell you, if that was my decision, I'd hold a whole podcast on who's next up for me to fuck around with. So yeah, I don't listen.
Damn.
I don't mince words. One thing about me is I'm not fake. I'm not fake. But like I said, where hurts my soul is. Don't smile in my face and say you're my friend. Don't act like you give a shit and apologize to me when you call me a bitch because you genuinely mean it. That's fine. I respect that. I don't expect everyone to like me. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I mean, I'm not out here looking for fucking friends. I mean, let's be realistic. I have a circle. I appreciate it. My circle's so tight, I damn near cut myself off the other day. But what I don't like is when people will smile in your face or they act like they care, and then you realize not only are they not your friend, they've come for you before, they don't have your back, or they're coming for you and they genuinely don't care. Now, one thing that people do know, and I did say this for 2024, I'm asking people be nice with me, like just be pleasant, be respectful, because I'm in a different mind space in 2024. I'm trying to achieve a lot. I'm hustling hard, but if you really want to play games, in 2 minutes, I'm going to fuck around and act like you Shannon Sharp and I'm Cat Williams and I'm coming for everybody fucking next. And I mention government names because I don't play.
Nice.
I really don't. Because my thing is this. The worst you're going to do is be like, you wrong for telling the truth. Come on now. There ain't nothing worse when you have to expose a bitch or a bitch ass nigga.
I think it's a beautiful place to end. I think it's it's a beautiful bumper sticker that I'm going to
I ask
buy.
people not to do that. If you don't like me, I respect that. Let me go on my way. You know,
Again, I don't know who these people are who don't like
if you
you.
want to
But
take me down, oh shit, we still got another podcast to do for the next one. So
yeah, we gotta go.
listen, and listen, if they keep, let me tell you something. If they keep working my soul, oh yeah, you'll know more than you listen. You'll know more than you asked for. How about that?
That's gonna be great. I'm excited for the mixtape. It's gonna drop. We're just gonna call these people out. I like it.
Basically, and then we got to get a bottle of liquor, and we has to be brown liquor because we want to.
Yeah.
We got to emulate that.
I'm down. I'm in.
right,
You
right.
have a show coming up. You do have a show coming up. You'll be at Myers Brewing Company, but I know you got some other stuff. So why don't you hit them with some stuff?
No, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't have my stuff in order, so I have to figure out my dates. Right. So no, I know I have Myers Brewing Company. I had a ball when I did the other shows that had passed. I did have a ball doing those. I got to meet people and socialize. I'm still supposed to head out to Atlanta for the Kenan Thompson show that's out there, but they're switching venues, so they're still doing Atlanta, but now they're gonna be doing LA. So I have to find out whether or not I will have to do LA instead versus Atlanta. Listen, I'm game either way. So I'm just looking forward to it, and I'm excited. And I just hope people continue to follow me on Instagram under comedian Shari. Hope people follow me on Facebook, Shari Franklin. And of course, check out my podcast, subscribe, like, comment. Secondly, let me know what you think about our podcast. And not only that, let me know what you think about airing people out, because I think it'll be a beautiful thing. You know,
It's always fun.
Yeah, it's always a good time. With you, Neil, it's always a good time. We
I
still
have
got
fun
to
every
figure
time.
out. We still got to find out about your dating situation, because I'm going to hook you up on a blind date soon.
Oh, that would be delightful. I would
Yes, that's
enjoy
exactly
that.
right. Soon,
I'm
I'm
out
going to hook
here.
you up on a blind date, see how this goes, and then we'll go from there. I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah. No, I'm in. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm in. I'm out here. I'm out here in the streets, running around like a crazy person. So
All right, I'm
I
going
love
to
it.
find you somebody.
Perfect. Yeah, you can check out follow Shari, and of course you can check her out at Myers Brewing Company coming up in February. So you can go over to at Biggest Little Comedy to get all those dates and details and buy tickets to the show, and follow at Biggest Little Comedy for more details. So you'll see Shari on some more stuff. Awesome, Shari. Thank you so much. It's good. A lot of fun today. Well, not fun, I should say, but it
Right.
was.
It's always fun dealing with you, Neil. I appreciate you so much. And don't forget, next time we're going to make sure we figure out who your blind date is. Maybe we'll even bring them on the show. Okay, Neil will be like, now you're pushing it. But either way, we will. Make sure you guys follow me at Comedian Shari. Please like, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you want to hear about at Crimes to Remember. Thank you so much, Neil. I appreciate you. Everybody, have a blessed New Year.
This has been Crimes to Remember with comedian Shari. Subscribe on YouTube at Crimes to Remember, rate and review us on your favorite audio platform, and follow us on Instagram at comedian Shari.
Hey, hold right there. Don't dare skip this. This is an important message. Me and my boy Albert Davis, we want to tell you about our podcast, Seriously Dad. Albert, why should they listen?
Because it's the best podcast in the world. It's by two comedians who are dads, and you know what we're talking about? Being dads. It's called Seriously Dad. Check us out on social media at Seriously Dad Podcast, and
anywhere you get your podcast. That's where we're at. We're funny. We got some great guests coming our way. We cover the topics you want to hear. Check us out.
This has been a Drop Tent Media production.